Welcome to Beyond the Press Release, a production of Gore Column, in which we take the time to speak with small cap executives after they put out important news. With us today, Philippe Deschamps, CEO of Ortho Regenerative Technologies, trades in Canada under ORTH. For friends in the US, ORTIF. For those of you watching or listening at home, you're going to love this one because why? We're in the middle of NHL, NBA, and global soccer championship season for all intents and purposes. So now more than ever, we're hearing about things like muscle tears, rotator cuffs, meniscus, cartilage, because when a player goes down, it makes news, right? Now, here's the thing. We all think that care and repair is pretty standard, pretty effective. But the real problem is there's a massive problem with failure rates. Rotator cuffs are in the 40 to 50% failure rate, meniscus 20 to 40%, cartilage 15 to 35%. Shocking, right? Well, that means there's a strong need for more effective treatments. And that's where Ortho comes in. In layman's term, they use a proprietary, pardon me, folks, restore technology platform to dramatically improve the success rate of orthopedic and sports medicine surgeries. With us, talk about the company, Philippe. Welcome back, my friend.
Hi, George. Very nice to be back. And I couldn't have said it better myself. You know, we get lulled into the athlete world when one of our favorite athletes get hurt. We see them spark back in 6, 8, 10 months, and when they tear an ACL or something. The real world for we mortals is 12 to 18 months, sometimes 2 years to repair these tissues. So what Ortho has developed is a means to try and help that surgery be more robust, as you mentioned, lots of re-tears, and to make it a lot friendlier to the yous and me's of the world.
Yeah, and more than just lip service for you guys, you've already got FDA clearance to proceed with U.S. clinical trials. You've got 9 patents issued in major markets around the world, and now you've announced that you received, and read this, received key U.S. composition method patent for soft tissue repair platform. Why is this important for the company in layman's terms, obviously, and what's the size of the market that you now have protected?
Yeah, so normally patent news is sort of ho-hum, and I get it. They're really important, but and the reason that I cared more passionately about this one is every company has one key patent that gives it the largest possible opportunity, and this is the one, and that's why we news released it and made it a material event. So as you pointed out, the patent that we received from the U.S. is now issued, so it's not just we have it in our hands, and what it is it's both composition and method, and what that means is the combination of 3, quite frankly, unpatentable elements, which are chitosan. Chitosan has been around for a long time. Of course, the patient's own blood is not patentable. And then finally, the salt that sort of helps trigger the coagulation is not. But and I got to hand it to the law firm that we use. In fact, it's a law firm that used to work with Dr. Barry Sherman to invalidate a whole bunch of patents. So they build their patents in a way that stops the Barry Shermans from trying to invalidate them. So I'm really happy with the composition of this particular patent. So we now own that combination and all combination of salts, chitosan, and blood products. So it's very broad. And the second part is the method part. So the method part is also covered, which is the repair of soft tissue broadly. So just to give you a size and scale of this opportunity, in the US, there's about 600,000 shoulder surgeries every year.
Yep.
And when you talk about the tendon injuries that we were just speaking about, torn ligament or anything like that, there's about 600,000 of those every year. And then the other product or the other injury that everybody knows about, we call them tennis elbow or golf elbow or things like that, which are or Achilles heel tear, which are not necessarily only tears, but what they're called tendinopathies. So they essentially are pain that doesn't seem to go away. Well, the Ortho Restore platform is essentially designed for all 3 of those. It's the same patent that'll be able to cover all 3 of those. So that's why this is a really big deal, and that's why I wanted to come on and talk to you about it and to talk to your listeners, because it's one that is really foundational for us.
And in your quote, it's pretty strong. Usually you don't see these for patents, but it says This is a critical step in protecting our technology platform in the world's largest orthopedic soft tissue repair market. And I like this part. It's further validation of our novel approach. And so it's a key, hard-fought value creation milestone for the company. Let's unpack that a little bit. Let's talk about why you said it's further validation. Why is this patent further validation?
Well, like I said, each of the elements here. What I love about this company and this product is it's elegantly simple, right? This is a patient's own blood combined with chitosan, and what's particular about chitosan, I think I spoke a little bit about this when we spoke last, is that it's a positively charged biopolymer. Lots of big words to basically say it's got an positive electrical charge. And it's a substance that gets put in the body that has been around for a long, long time and proven safe. And then finally, calcium chloride is a salt. It's not quite sodium chloride like the salt you put in your French fries, but it's very, very similar. And the three are normally not patentable, but when you combine the three for a particular reason, and that's why I praise the work of the attorneys, because this was challenged quite heavily by the U.S. Patent Office because of what's called prior art. So look, and they finally relented,
Wow.
I guess is the way to do it, to give us the patent. So now we own it until February 2035. So this is a long, long runway for us that should make us really appealing when we finish our clinical trial and the large orthopedic companies start to look at how to build a franchise around this space where we own the franchise.
So would you say this is a key value creation milestone for the company? You guys really fought hard to get. So can you put a value? I know sometimes there are companies out there that will value their IP or specific components of it, and you don't have to give a number, but just can you give us a sense for how big?
So yeah, it's a great question, George, and these are conjectures, because ultimately value is what somebody's willing to pay for them, right?
Of course.
But the way that people like me and organizations create value is you look at the addressable market. So look at those 600,000 surgeries. And the cost of our technology is measured in tens of dollars per application in terms of our cost. But the value created we're likely going to be charging between $1,500 and $2,000 for the product per surgery. So that's a $3 or $4 billion market opportunity just for the shoulder repair. And then when you expand that to the meniscus repair, and then to the 11 million potential applications for tennis elbow and the such, it numbers in the $12 billion, sorry, in terms of what the opportunity is, at least sort of on the back of the envelope. So when I say value creation, this didn't exist a week ago, and it does now.
So let's talk about, you use numbers like that, and that's great. And listen, you're a longtime pro. Is specifically in the healthcare sector. So you don't throw around terms like that loosely. No. Let's talk about, for people who are new, because there are always new people watching and listening and all that. How long ballpark until you get to market? Because in the meantime, you go through some clinical trials. So what does that look like ballpark?
So look, we're taking this organization right now. We're in what's called phase 1, phase 2. So that's the beginning of the human work. But since our clinical trial is going to be done in the U.S. and done with the very surgeons that are the cutting edge leading surgeons around the country, and it's not a double-blinded trial, so the assessor of the outcome is blinded, but the surgeon knows. The surgeon will know, and they'll know the application, and they know that the Ortho product is going to stay resident, because remember, the problem we're trying to solve here is PRP, which is platelet-rich plasma, which is all the healing stuff in the blood exists in that part of the blood. It's used often. In fact, if any of your listeners Google PRP right now, they'll see their surgeon or a local surgeon likely talking about being able to use the injection. The problem is that PRP is like water. And so when you inject it, it dissipates very, very quickly. The magic of Ortho is it creates, with this, remember I said the positively charged biopolymer. Well, most tissues in the body are negatively charged. positive, negative, stick, right? So that's what makes it stick to the surgical repair, and therefore the blood can deliver its repair system over a 4 to 6 week process rather than 24 hours at best when you just inject PRP alone. So
well,
it's a
massive,
vast difference. Yeah, it's a
by
vast
several
difference.
magnitudes, by several
Yeah.
magnitudes improvement.
Yeah.
Ballpark, how long until you think
That's
you'll
right.
be done the trials?
Let
No, it's
me
great.
answer the
And,
question for you.
you know, but and by the way, it's important to note, right, that you don't have to wait for the trials to be done. As you keep making incremental gains of the trials, bigger partners are more likely to come to the table in advance.
Sure.
Right?
Well, that's really, and look, I'll be very transparent, George. We're not likely. Things always change, and the capital markets always change, but we're not likely to take this product all the way to full commercialization. We feel pretty strongly that all those surgeons that I was just speaking to you about, they all have relationships with the big orthopedic companies, and so we'll be able to work with them, to work with their partners and present our technology and show them how this might create a really good opportunity for them to either help us develop this, and so help fund the phase 3 development, which will be another couple of years on top of the 18 months or so that we're away from finishing this particular trial. But I firmly believe that we're going to get at least a development partner, if not an exit of the organization, sometime after or during this phase 1/2 trial. So, 18, 24 months.
And that's going to go by like that.
Indeed.
This is for the US.
This is for the US.
What's the IP protection for this elsewhere in the world?
So it's kind of funny. We released that last Friday, George, and on Monday and Tuesday we got the same version of the Canadian patent and the same version of the European patent at the same time. So all of the largest markets in the world and Western medicine is now covered. Those two other issues are called a notice of issue. So the patent hasn't been issued. It'll be another 30 days or so. But the US was the one that we're really looking for. But these 3 patents that have now we now are guaranteed to have received are going to form the cornerstone of the value creation for our eventual partners. That's going to help us commercialize this.
I've got to assume that when the US patent was issued, it's on the record, your industry, or the industry you're targeting, the orthos, somebody out there is watching these all the time, right?
Oh, indeed.
Is it safe to assume that your phone has either started to ring or will start to ring?
The industry's changed a lot, George. It used to be that, with a 12 rat study, you would be able to get big pharma or large med tech to pay attention. And now they certainly pay attention, and everything we're doing, but they tend to wait now until the phase 1/2 work is either completed or certainly gives us a good indication. And so, part of my job is to make sure that everyone that we care about knowing knows and follows the development of our technology, so that we're able to find the right partner. And the cool thing is orthopedic companies that do these shoulder surgeries or all of these kind of tendon or meniscus repair, they have huge franchises in the instruments, the anchors and the sutures that are done in these kinds of surgeries. And right now, essentially, there's a lot of people that sit on the sidelines because they know that these surgeries have, in fact, in the shoulder, as you mentioned right at front, it's anywhere from 20 to 90% failure rate.
Yeah, I just use 40 to 50 because
but that's
so obscene. It's unbelievable.
It's really remarkable, depending on how old you are and what your history is. So there's a lot of people that just avoid doing the surgery altogether. So with something that could potentially help guarantee a higher success rate, the floodgates could open up in terms of people doing it. My wife is one of them. She has a tear in both shoulders. She had one repaired, and it retore. And so basically, she said, I'm not doing the other one. And so that's a classic, very personal case of.
You hear that with rotator, especially people, especially older guys like me. I would say like you, hey, I can lift until there, good enough. I don't want to go through surgery and chance of it failing and all that. So this is good business for all the doctors and the companies are going to say, "Hey, George, come on in now because we're going to have a much higher success rate." So what comes next now, Doc? What comes next from here?
So the big obviously the big focus for us, George, is to focus on executing the clinical trial. On that note, we've identified our 10 sites, and we've completed the contracting and budgeting process for 6 of those sites. 3 of them have been initiated, so they're recruiting patients now. And what's different, and it just didn't actually occur to me up front, but what's different in our case than most clinical trials where you actually have to find the patients in the community is surgeons have about a 6 to 8 week sort of rotation of where they schedule their surgeries. So all of the patients that are going to do this trial are actually already in the system, and by definition, next week, the 7th week is going to be populated. So we'll always find the patients to be screened inside the practices. So that gives me a little more comfort that we won't have to search for patients, and we should be a little more predictable in our ability to recruit the 75 patients that we need to do to complete this trial.
So you're on your way. I mean, devil's advocate, is there something that keeps you up at night and worries you other than just execution of the trials? Because that's standard, but that's not unique to you.
It is, but there's a little secret in the industry that there are clinical trial gods that sometimes just play havoc in that side. I don't think I've been doing this for 35 years, and I've gotten a lot more conservative about predicting the outcome, not only the outcome, but the time that it takes to do clinical trials. You got to do it right. And we're actually in the clinical lead, George. So we're the #1 company right now that's first in humans for this kind of technology. So we have every advantage to do this right and to make sure that there are no protocol deviations and that we recruit our patients exactly the way that the protocols demand. So if it takes us an extra month, 2 or a quarter to get it done right, I'll make that trade-off any day of the week because ultimately
smooth is fast, that famous saying.
Yeah, exactly. Well said.
And when I open with this, I use the example of NHL, NBA, and global soccer. I want people to be able to relate to what we're talking about. But if everything goes well, I would assume that some of the biggest athletes in the world are going to be, if everything goes well, will be using this process, this platform.
Yeah, I'm a big golf fan. I play golf as much as I possibly can, and I was reading an article about Bubba Watson the other day, and he had a very very well-known wrist injury over the last about 6 or 9 months, and he went on the record. He says, "Look, I use PRP. I have to use it every day. It's a pain in the ass." So that's a classic case of with our technology, he'd be able to take 1 injection and have it stay resident for 4 to 6 weeks, and then hopefully be done with this rather than having to mess with it for 6 to 9 months. So there's a sort of a tangible case, and I just want to make sure everybody out there understands that right now we're designing a clinical trial to prove that. So my comments are in anticipation of that being positive. I don't know that for a fact today, but certainly.
We have animal clinics. We have animal examples. You're not just taking a shot in the dark here.
No.
A lot of people don't know this, but you did animal preclinical trials with some fantastic results, right?
Indeed. In fact, the big finding was when you do a surgery like your shoulder, what you notice about the tendons in the shoulders is that they're white, so they're not vascularized. That's why surgeons want to bring a blood supply because that's what the repair system is. And what we found, so the standard of care now is just essentially joining the tear together and allowing scar tissue to form around the tear, and that's why they're so fragile and they tend to re-tear all the time. And in the animal studies that we did, or called preclinical studies, what was really the biggest finding is rather than scar tissue, about the repair looked 80% like native tissue, so pre-tear. So that was really, really exciting, and that's what we hope to bring to the humans and in the clinical trials. So that's one of the things that we're going to be looking at in this particular trial, in addition to the tradition of looking for safety profile in phase 1 and 2 work. We've got these secondary endpoints that look at the structure and look at the range of motion and all the things that people care about. And we hope to get early indications. This won't be powered to show statistical significance in those things, but early indications that these are things that people should expect when the final clinical trials get done.
When you said 80% there, I'll leave it with this. It almost reminded me of Terminator, when the injuries would completely almost heal and look back to normal. As the scar tissue way today, Ortho Regenerative is almost making it look like the original, just the original combo. And that's
a great analogy, George. We hope that that's going to be the case.
Thanks for joining us today, Doc. Really appreciate it.
All right, my pleasure. All the best to you. Bye now.
To everybody at home, you've been watching or you've been listening by podcast on Spotify, Google, Apple, your favorite podcast platform. To Philippe Deschamps, CEO of Ortho Regenerative Technologies, trades in Canada under the stock symbol ORTH. For friends in the US, ORTIF. For those new to the story, and that's going to be a lot of you, and this sounds really interesting because you can relate to it from the topics we're talking about. We all go through this. We've had friends and family. We have our favorite athletes. And now you got a small cap company that may have a real solution, got a real patent applied against that, amongst many others. Start your due diligence by going to the company's profile page on Agoracom. We know there's a lot of science here. We know there's a lot of medicine here. So what we do is give you a good 1,000-foot overview to make you comfortable, give you good foundational information. Then once you're comfortable with that, head over to the company's website, do your deep dive due diligence. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day. See you next time.
See you, George.
Hey guys, this video is over, but don't forget to help your company by liking it and even leaving a comment below. And then don't forget to help yourself by subscribing to our channel and never missing another great Agoracom small cap video.